Hi, guys. Welcome to our daily encounter. Don't you just love happy endings? Whether you get to the end of a movie or you get to the end of some TV series and everything gets resolved and everything works out, everybody survives for the most part, and you just get that warm feeling in your heart that, everything worked out, everything got resolved. And that's always a good thing. Whether you're watching a movie or a TV or you're reading a good book or just experiencing that in life when you get to the other side of a difficult situation and everything works out, it's just a good feeling. And that's kind of the feeling that we get as we close the book of Job today. In the last two verses of Job, it says, "After this, Job lived 140 years and saw his sons and his grandsons 4 generations. And Job died an old man and full of days." This man who wished that he would die. He wished that God would just strike him down because he was suffering so immensely. The very man who wished or cursed the day that he was born. This man goes on to live 140 years and sees 4 generations of descendants during that time. Wonderful ending to the story. This man is blessed. He's got many sons, many daughters. He's got 6,000 cattle, 14,000 sheep, 1,000 yoke of oxen, 1,000 female donkeys. He's just living a good life for those 140 years after the suffering that he went through. So this is an encouragement to us because what it shows us is that suffering is temporary. There will one day will be the end of our suffering. One of the hard things about suffering is when you feel like it's never going to end. When you hit a rough spot in life, when you're dealing with some hard things, one of the most discouraging things is when you feel like it's going to go on forever. And you don't see an end at the end of a light at the end of the tunnel. You don't see an end to the problem or to the situation, and you begin to lose hope. Well, Job felt that way while he was in the suffering. He felt like it'd be better just to die than to go on dealing with what he was dealing with. But you know what? He did come to the end of the suffering. And I think all of us have to admit that there's been at least one or two or three or many more instances in which we were dealing with rough things in life, and we thought that they were going to last forever. It felt like they were going to last forever. But hey, we look back and we look at those times and those situations and we realize those are way in the past. And God brought us through it and we survived and we're still intact for the most part. And we can recognize, even in our own experience, that suffering does have an end. Suffering is temporary. Now, there are cases where sometimes suffering does last a whole lifetime. Maybe you think about a person with chronic illness or something like that. And it is true that sometimes suffering does last our whole lives. But even then, it's just temporary. Even then, we can look ahead to a future in which that suffering does come to a close. As we get into the book of Revelation, we find in chapter 7 a discussion or a description of people who had gone through the tribulation. And after they made it through the tribulation, this is what it says. This is them on the other side of life after they made it through the tribulation. It says in Revelation chapter 7, it says, these are the ones who come out of the great tribulation, and they have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. For this reason, they are before the throne of God, and they serve him day and night in his temple. And he who sits on the throne will spread his tabernacle over them. They will hunger no longer, nor thirst any more, nor will the sun beat down on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb in the center of the throne will be their shepherd, and he will guide them to springs of the water of life, and God will wipe every tear from their eyes. So on the other side of that great tribulation that they experienced, that God had sent on the earth, on the other side of that, they didn't hunger anymore, didn't thirst anymore, didn't feel heat anymore, and even their sorrow was wiped away. The tears were wiped away from their eyes. But it's true also when we consider the new heavens and the new earth. Similar language is used to describe what will happen when the new heavens and new earth comes. John was able to see it in a vision. In Revelation chapter 21, it says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth passed away, and there is no longer any sea. And after he talks about the holy city, the New Jerusalem, which I believe to be the church descending out of heaven, he says, behold, the tabernacle of God is among men, and he will dwell among them, and they shall be his people, and God himself will be among them. And he will wipe away every tear from their eyes. And there will no longer be any death. There will no longer be any mourning or crying or pain. The first things have passed away. These things that weigh on our hearts so much here on this earth, where you're talking about death, pain, mourning, crying, all these negative things that we experience on the earth will be done away with. And new heavens and new earth will come, and God will usher us into a new reality, into a new experience where there'll be blessing and great wonder and great blessing before God. And so we can be encouraged as we finish up the book of Job. We can think about our own lives and realize, you know what, suffering does have an end. And one day we will be on the other side of suffering. And the other side of suffering is a lot longer than the time of suffering, as it was with Job. 140 years he got to enjoy blessings for the short time that he suffered. And that's how we'll look at our lives for centuries, for thousands upon thousands, and we could say millions upon millions, billions upon billions of years. We'll look back on this short life and say, yeah, we suffered a little bit while we were there, but look at the bliss and the joy that we get to experience forever. And it's going to be a wonderful and beautiful experience. So let's be encouraged by the book of Job, and let's be encouraged in our lives to keep on going and keep on hoping and keep on holding to the Lord, even through the difficult times. So with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.